Hi everyone, it's Lisa here with a quick recap of the Power Zone and how it's beneficial to your students and what it might look like. So in your classroom, there are typically three teacher work areas. Your desk area, where you might check your emails, grade papers, take care of those daily tasks that you have to do, or monthly or constant. Sometimes, although I found this very rare in my classroom, but according to the Fundamental 5 book, teachers might also be waiting there, waiting for their students to do something. I'm thinking maybe waiting for their test to get started or waiting for them all to get logged in the computer. And maybe that's what waiting looks like. Or sometimes delivering instruction might happen from behind a teacher's desk or work area. There's also the lecture position, and some people prefer to lecture at the front of the room. Some people lecture at the side of the room, and some people lecture at the back. Those are the typically most places that you'll find. And I have seen some teachers that have great success lecturing from the middle of the room, and that does help with working in the power zone and proximity control. And then there's the power zone as identified by the Fundamental 5 authors. And that's basically just saying that when you have close proximity to an individual student, to a small group of students, or even to your whole class, then you are using the power zone to influence what happens in your classroom. Why is this even important? Well, working in the power zone actually brings more power to every other instructional practice you have. So whether it's students playing a game or doing some collaborative learning or writing, if you're in their proximity, they're going to do a better job. It increases on-task behavior, it decreases discipline issues, it increases student achievement. And I would also like to add that it also gives you the opportunity to make connections with your students and further that capturing kids' hearts area. It does put you in the absolute best position to conduct frequent feedback and see how your students are going or doing in their assignment. That way, you know if you need to reteach, stop before they practice too often, or figure out what your mini lesson will be for the next day or what you need to address that they're having trouble with. So, how can you start making sure that you're doing this? Well, make a commitment to be in close proximity to one or more of your students for 75% of your class or more. So this isn't saying you have to be up on your feet 100% of the time in your class. You can sit with a small group. You can sit beside a student. You can move throughout the classroom as far as to where you like to teach from and lecture. A lot of times I'd sit on the corner of a student's desk. I know this next one is difficult, especially for those of you in glass classrooms. So I'm just going to say do the best that you can, but to arrange your classroom to facilitate teacher movement. And just remember, we do have our library where you can reserve time and space in there if you really need to do something, where you want your students to spread out. But I know that's difficult in some of our overcrowded classrooms. And then limit or remove your distractions. And what the book says is maybe keep a cleaner desk so you're not, tempted to sit and grade papers. Put your phone away if you're one of those that's tempted to use your phone. Just make professional judgments and think about what is it that gets in the way of me staying in the power zone for the majority of my class. Using proximity, think about it, guys. It's always been a accommodation on special education documentation, proximity, preferential seating, those are great accommodations. And when you're doing it for everyone, everyone's getting accommodated. But it does put you in the position to not just improve behavior, because that's what we think a lot of times when it comes to proximity control, but it also does increase your student performance. So here's a strategy that I like to give to my teachers when I'm coaching them. Actually, learned this from Dr. Walker, who got it from Relay Coaching, which is a systematic way to help teachers who are going through alternative certification. And I call them proximity laps. I'm not sure what Relay Coaching calls them. But that's when we set our students down to work, whether it's in the beginning of the class when they're doing their do now, or getting started on their independent work. But we want to do one lap of the full classroom where we're simply checking for what students are doing and letting them know that we're monitoring to see if they are getting started and getting on task. And then you want to rotate a second and a third and a fourth time where you pass by each and every student. And at that time, you're doing like status and data check. So you're looking to see who's off task and you're giving them, a redirection, or you're affirming the kid beside them, going with that recognize and reinforce that is on task. When you do that the third or the fourth time, you can see, okay, which students actually might need some additional help. They're not quite understanding. And then we can pull those students and work with them in a small group. Again, you can sit down to do this, but you're still in the power zone of the students that need you the most. A couple of other tips is if you're not a user of Classroom Screen or you don't embed timers into your slides, using timers is a great way to get kids focused in the beginning, which allows you to be able to use your proximity control better in your power zone. I always liked, unless my students were intentionally doing something collaborative, because we know they're going to talk no matter what. But if I would say to them, okay, guys, we're going to get started and you have 5 minutes of quiet work, and I would put a timer up, and that's when I would, walk around the room just to be sure they're on task, giving them that 3, 5, 7 minutes to get started without talking really helps them get focused and get started. And it's a great routine to have with your students. So the power zone, that means it's almost time for lunch. The power zone is a great way to be sure that your students are doing what they need to be doing. And it does help decrease, some of that missing work, and also give you an idea of who is just not doing their work and who doesn't understand the work, so that you can then go to your PLC and figure out what you can do about some of those different issues. If you would like some tips or to watch a teacher who's really good at the power zone, or for me to come in and help you model some things, or if you want to say, I think I do use the power zone, but I'm not sure, I'm happy to come in and help you out.